why are you doing that?
But
it
became
ended up
so
working.
funny that you just can't wait.
Turned out to be really important to the
up.
success of the show.
That's the shit people always remember too, because they go, "Oh, I fuck up like that," and I try to hide it.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
yeah.
so
We
you're
all
not only
try to
fucking
hide
up,
the
he's
shit.
calling you guys for hiding it, which made you know.
And then you're just like, oh god, yes, I did that. Okay, I did it.
That's what frees us as stand-ups, though. It's like when you're on. That's the hard part of acting is you can't call it out when it sucks.
Right.
With joke bombs, you can fucking just you can do what you want and control it.
Yeah.
But when you're bombing in a scene and you're like terrible in this, it's fucking horrifying.
It's really terrifying.
Jimmy just
Can't pull
covered
out
his mouth when he said that. He goes, "It's horrifying."
Oh,
You've been there.
heavens!
Right. I actually will yell "masher" and hit the man.
Breathe into a lilac-scented doily.
Have a touch of the vapors.
Oh my goodness!
Ooh.
Get me a cucumber sandwich, crust removed.
Where are you going, Jimmy? Like, what?
He's got an LA trip.
But why are you going to Arizona?
I'm shooting something for the Tonight Show for this college thing. This college, whatever
College
the big
thing.
game,
It's
BSU.
it's the BCS championship.
I don't know what that is.
Is it like a bowl game, or
That-
those are?
Yeah, it's one of those
That
big
is-
college bowl
It's
games.
the game every year.
So I'm shooting that Friday and Saturday, and then I go out Sunday, and then I just.
What are you doing? Like the parking lot? Like
I guess whatever because the game is Monday, so I think I just go on stage and pitch it
Tailgating and shit?
to Jay on Monday. Like I just throw it to him on Monday night. We're doing it Monday night.
Where in Arizona will you be?
I don't know. I land in Phoenix, but it's like 20 minutes from Phoenix. Glendale, I think. I could be wrong.
Up like a place like Arizona, you could land at the airport and then it's 5 hours to go where you want to go.
Arizona, it's a very beautiful state, but it's like you're living on a moon colony. Yeah. You know, like it's very modern and nice, but everything is so sunbaked. You're like, oh, did they terraform the moon? Why the fuck am I doing here?
So fucking true.
We manufacture those. But
Yeah, and there's so many like preserved old people out there. I know that Florida gets around for that, so the old people go. I think they go to Arizona.
Arizona, yeah.
That there's no moisture, so they just become like these living mummies. They just don't die out there, man.
And they do hear about how that dry heat helps whatever ailment they have. Arthritis or their lung ailments or anything. It's
They got that Doc Holliday TB, so they gotta go preserve their lung tissue or something.
Go out to Arizona, Lunger.
Yeah, Lunger.
Hey, Lunger.
People are healthy out there, though. They look like the women out there are beautiful. There's something about that. Oh, they are
up until they're
gorgeous
23 and then look like fucking an old saddle.
10 years after I need them.
Wow. That fucking, the sun will fuck women.
Yeah.
Like the worst part is the top of a woman's breast when she lives in a very sunny climate. It just becomes this
leathery
beef
thing.
jerky in a bra.
Horrible.
Yeah,
it's horrid.
Yeah, it looks like an old millionaire's desktop, you know, like where he'd be signing checks. And
It's his blotter.
I will sign this check, and you'll never come to this estate again. Goodbye. I said good day, sir.
Good day.
And also, like the thing about like the Arizona, the one thing I like is, and you'll notice this when you're there. Well, no, it won't be that hot when you're there, but in the summertime, from like 11 a.m. till about 2:30, the city just shuts down. Everyone just goes inside.
It's just too hot.
And they either take a nap or they just do their shit inside, and everything kind of calms down. I like that.
What do you think it is this time of year? Like 65, 70?
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous right now.
Yeah.
You're really happy.
Yeah, I'm bringing a small coat. Nothing heavy.
There are certain times of the year, and I'm always amazed that people actually live there. And even here in the Northeast, because we get some snow and some really brutally cold weather, and Buffalo like that, where if a probe was sent down, and it landed in the right place at the right season, people would, or whatever beings would be like, "There's no fucking way there's life there.
It's a wasteland.
It's a wasteland of because you think the whole planet is covered in ice.
Yeah,
it's 30 below zero." Let's write this one off.
Yeah.
Or it's 120 degrees.
Yeah, it's a hellhole.
Here.
Who's that? There's a comedian, Larry Ambrose, who said, I come from Buffalo, New York. They have 2 seasons, winter and July 8th. That's good. I love that line. And I've been in Buffalo. That is exactly what it's like.
I lived there for 3 years.
Oh, you lived in Buffalo.
The winters go on for fucking ever. And it snows every day until that fucking lake freezes.
And everything is frozen in ice, right?
Everything.
Just frozen solid.
I went through long johns because I would just wear them every fucking day to try to stay warm. Yeah.
You
learned how to just adapt, and people know how to drive on ice and snow there.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother them at all.
Is that where you at night you have to plug your car in or like plug to keep it from
yeah,
freezing?
there's like a blanket you put over your engine
Something,
and plug it in so you're oiled and
Sure, yeah.
freeze.
Yeah, you can't really.
I'm not kidding. They really do that.
You can't really have an older car in Buffalo in the winter. No.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that thing started in the morning. But every morning you had to fucking brush off your car from the snow that came.
And use that little de-icing spray for the lock
Everything.
sometimes.
You had all that shit.
You know, that's one thing about being, you know, kind of successful in a way, growing up a little bit and having some disposable income. I don't have to hear anymore.
Yeah.
And that used to be a daily occurrence where you like pump the pedal twice on my old Chevy Nova or some shit and try to get that thing turned over.
The days of an old fucking car.
And then that distressing when it finally just gets down to the grrr, click.
Yeah.
What about the
click? Got cables.
And also all those years of going in and negotiating with mechanics at some kind of sketchy garage. And look, how can we just keep this thing running? I'm telling you, when I was living in San Francisco, I had to just keep this old Jetta just moving so I could keep working. And I had this really nice mechanic, but it was always like, okay, can we, I have this much money, what can you fix that'll keep it going? I know this thing isn't working, you know. And it was just, I always had a car in which I knew 3 or 4 things were just broken on, but he's like, you can still drive this without these things working.
As long as it keeps moving, yeah.
You can't, no more air, no more heat, but you can have these things, you know. And now I just take my car to the dealer and go, make it run,
fix,
and I'll be back. Like
I think it's still under warranty, sir.
Yeah. You know, I don't even, that's the one luxury that I do is I just make the thing go. Yeah. And then I just come back.
Having money rules.
Well, there is a certain thing, and if you come from, you know, shit, and that kind of suburban,
like we all did.
I mean, loading up. How many times I load my friends up in my horrid car, looking for girls, and just thinking there's going to be 6 girls for every degenerate I'm hauling around with me.
Yeah,
and like coming from that, and being able to afford things is nice. I must admit.
Oh, it's great.
There's nothing wrong with money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with money.
I fucking love it, man.
It doesn't buy happiness, but it sure can eliminate some sadness.
Yeah.
You can wipe some of that out.
Yeah. Money can't buy you happiness. Great. How much sadness can it make go away?
Yeah, that's all I need.
Or how much sadness can it keep me from?
Yeah.
How high can I build the wall between me and sadness?
The sadness barrier.
Yeah.
I'm building it with cash.
Yeah. Where's that sadness? Where's that sadness deflecting barbed wire that money can buy? Because that's pretty good.
Shit.
True, man.
When did you start? You're doing very well. I started probably maybe around 2001. I started doing okay, and then as years went on, I started. But I was about 11, 12 years in before I started doing decent. Not till the early aughts did I feel like I had actually some security, because I'd incurred so many debts.
Yeah.
You incur so much debt getting there, and all the years that people just carried you. I was very determined to pay back debts, pay out credit cards, and so there were times like I was on TV for years and still lived in a very crappy apartment and drove a very old car and people would see you and go, you're on TV, you're rich. It's like, you don't really understand how it works.
Really works,
it actually takes you a while after being, I've had friends that are writers that they publish 5 books and they're still working day jobs. There's just no money in it for a long time.
I had the same disillusionment with our own Greg Opie Hughes here because he had his own show on WBAB on Long Island.
Well, when I met Ann, I was already 10 years in.
10 years in the business.
10 fucking years in.
He was doing 7 to midnight at BAB, and I used to come on every so often and, be a little guest, have some fun, shit like that. And I was under the impression that because he was on the radio, he was rich.
And he has to be. He's on the radio.
So we got to know each other a little more, and he goes, "Hey, you want to come over? Watch a fucking movie, hang out at the house, drink
whatever it was." Right.
I'm like, cool, sounds good. So he's driving, and I'm like following my piece of shit work van. I was putting in air conditioning and heating duct work, and I'm following him, and we're going into Northport, which is a nice neighborhood in Long Island.
So you're thinking maybe a beach house
on
the water?
Beach house on the water.
Sure.
He makes the turn that is not the turn toward the nice houses.
Not the turn you were expecting.
He made that one turn in North Point where it was like, hey, wait a minute. This isn't that place. And we pull up in front of a house, and now I'm like, all right, well, this maybe, and I actually thought this, maybe this is his summer house. like this is just another one of his houses.
And then it went from, that's his house to, wait a minute, it's only half his
He's
house.
in an apartment
right,
in
upstairs.
a house. And I fucking went like, oh no.
And then he cooked you a piece of toast with a coat hanger over a hot plate.
That's how it is,
I remember,
though, man.
and I'm sure you remember this too, that first year that I broke double digits as a comedian, I made $11,000.
Oh, wow.
In 1992, I was living in San Francisco, and I got to the end of the year, and I had made $11,000 as a stand-up, and I was kind of arrogant about it. I was like, yeah, 11 grand. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And again, I barely paid my rent. I would always eat at this place called La Cumbre. They had 75-cent burritos. And then anywhere that I worked, I would try to work open mics where if you bought one drink, you could eat at the buffet or just eat the bar food.
And you had an attitude.
And I kind of had a tune like, hey, yeah, I'm 11 grand. I'm up in double digits now. Still pretty good. Yeah, it's really, stuff's happening now. Career's really taking 11 grand that I was kind of puffing my chest out.
Do you save your old
I hope to double that.
Well, that's what Patton's doing right now.
Yeah,
He's finally doubling that.
Do you save your old? I have all my old calendars. Like, I have $350 for the week.
You hoarder.
But I do hoard that stuff. Like where I had my little organizer. And I would go to Wildwood. I would do a week in Wildwood, like 14 shows for $350. And then the second week you did there, you did $400 for 14 shows.
Yeah. And I have all like, if you
Wait,
look at my
not per
calendar,
show?
No, for the whole week.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it looks like I'm some kind of weird, like hoarder OCD guy because you're doing gigs and like you will go somewhere if there's something in the afternoon you'll do it.
Yeah.
You'll do clubs and every single night there's some one nighter where you're driving out and you basically make enough money to put the gas in that will get your car back.
Shit.
I mean it's insane.
But you learn to love other comedians like that because, Jim Florentine, Bob Levy, those guys. We would go down to Maryland and do gigs, and I would make $25 a show for 3 shows. It was $75 for the weekend and no food and no room. So those guys would buy me food and put me up.
wow.
They learn how to love other comics.
Yeah.
I've heard this story hundreds.
Sounds like the Nom.
Yeah, just keep your feet dry, Jim.
I've heard that same story probably told 100 times at this point. Why is it legendary that you guys just didn't get fucking paid? I know the new guys,
comedians,
obviously.
yeah.
Because
But guys that are
pieces of shit.
Yeah,
but guys that
especially
are-
back then, if you were also were these young, terrified smacked asses, we think that if we mouth off to one club owner, we won't work anywhere.
You'll never work in this town again.
So if they go, yeah, we'll give you a feature act, you can do and also they go, hey, you get to do half an hour, and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
like you get to do
get
half an
to
hour,
work more.
and we'll give you $25, and you never negotiate. You immediately. I remember when I was at Garvin's, they banned Dave Chappelle because he was the first guy to go, no, pay me what I'm worth. He wasn't even asking for crazy money. He was like 18 years old, just going, doing half an hour. Give me $50 a set. Like, get the fuck out of here.
That was a good move by Garvin's.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Now you get the hell out of here.
But I still don't understand why they keep you guys
You
down.
proud Mick bastard.
Because they can. Because we do it because we love doing it.
It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
It is.
man.
But eventually,
I
if
mean,
you
the Comedy Store to this day doesn't pay.
Oh, those guys.
anybody.
Neither does the
Improv, neither
none
does
of the
no.
city clubs do.
No.
Yeah, people don't know that out there.
To headline Carolines or comics or
It's different.
Gotham is
obviously.
different.
Of course.
Yeah.
But for spots, none. The improv pays $7.
Also, you remember you would do these one-nighters, and it was very clear that the guy that was booking the one-nighter, that booked you, went to this bar or restaurant or hotel lounge and said, yeah, I can book a comedy show for you guys. I'm going to need a budget of like $1,500.
Yeah.
And then he went to his 3 comics. All right, you get 15 to open, and you get 25 to feature, and you'll get 75 to headline. And then he's pocketing the rest. And you know that the gig will last probably 3 more weeks before they get hip to what he's doing. But at that point, he's already found another land. Like, that's how these guys would stay. They would just keep sharking around.
And maybe one headliner he trusted or whatever who would pick up the money. Like, we would always have to pick up the money for the book. But one of the comedians that he knew wouldn't fucking tell the other comics how much he was making.
Right.
Wow.
He'd be like, if he's paying out $300 and he's making $6.
Yeah.
Like, what a piece of shit. But he would trust the one guy to pick up his money.
Uh-huh.
It was really. But you learn. The guys that aren't willing to do that are the guys that are fucking long gone. It's like
Right.
the guys that weren't willing
You had
to do
to play
that.
the game.
You had to, but then you make up for it in the end. You make up the money.
Yeah, because also what you have is you have so much stage time that when you do start headlining, shit just doesn't faze you like it used to. Because you're like, oh, I've been through so much worse than that. You're doing it to go through all the shit. so that when
Yeah,
you're headlining, you're not going to freak out and pee your pants and pull a Michael Richards and run off stage.
Right.
And it wasn't that I don't think Michael Richards is a racist. I think Michael Richards is a guy who didn't do a lot of stand up, who got very successful on TV and is suddenly on stage.